Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel. You can also check me out on Spotify. Wherever you're listening to me, I appreciate it. However you're hearing my voice, I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I was on a roll there, guys. I was putting up like a podcast every day for like 3 or 4 days, and then the weekend hit. I work a lot on the weekend, and everyone else had the day off on Memorial Day. But I didn't. I had to get a lot of shit done. And then you had WWE pay-per-views. You had All Out. You had Collision. You had big news breaking through in the world of wrestling. Of course, there was the big release that everyone is talking about. I'm sure many of you have heard. Of course, I'm talking about the AEW release. Sonny Kiss is gone. AEW Original is no longer in the company. And we'll talk more about AEW as we move on. We're going to be talking about WWE Payback and Raw. What a good look for WWE. The other company had their owner walking out, firing their top guy in his hometown in front of that big crowd as a, cut to WWE, or as I cut to WWE Payback. It's a packed house in Pittsburgh, great matches, one really good or two really good matches, and then just a solid show throughout. Other than matches, you had Cody Rhodes on the Grayson Waller effect, brings out Jey Uso, huge pop. He's becoming a big star, which is crazy to see. He is truly a main event Jey Uso. He's on Raw. I think that's kind of cool because, Raw is like the B show, and kind of like how SmackDown used to be, where guys were on the cusp of getting popular or getting to that main event level. They would jump over on SmackDown, and that's how you got like the launching pad of like Edge and Rey Mysterio, and going way back, Brock and Kurt Angle, and then maybe like 10 years ago, you definitely had like Alberto Del Rio. So this is kind of like that. You can have Jay, who's on the cusp of getting popular, jump over to Raw and do his thing. I like it. We're going to talk more about that, obviously, when we talk about Raw. But also, Jey Uso has the hand thing, the up and down hand thing, which is like huge. You got to have a thing that's fun to do with your hands if you're in these Coliseum and arena wrestling shows, because, you show up, you want to do the hand thing, the guy comes out, you get to do the hand thing, it's fun to be in the crowd. But let's rank every single one of these matches on Payback from worst to first. Number 6 out of 6, Rhea and Raquel. Snug drop kicks from Rhea, sloppy part with Raquel attempting a powerbomb. Worst match on a good show, and it wasn't a good match. Rhea retains. Number 5, Ray versus Theory. Not a good match, not a bad match. Just stayed right there in the middle. It was mid. Roll up. Ray steals 1, 2, 3, and retains the U.S. title. Is Theory moving up past the U.S. title, or is he kind of going down? You got guys like LA Knight. You got guys like Grayson Waller. Kind of filling that role that Theory kind of had in 2022, but this is leaving 2023, going into 2024. I don't really know what you do with Austin Theory at this point. I don't. I liked him. I like his in-ring. His in-ring, you got to give it to him there. But, will he get lost in the shuffle with guys with better mic skills? I think that's a fear of mine if I was Austin Theory. Miz versus LA Knight. The build was amazing going into the show, and then the setup for the match was amazing as well. Cena comes out. He's the host. He makes himself the special guest referee. Miz takes Pittsburgh to Larryland as the bell sounds. Cena and LA Knight stare down. Oh, I forgot to mention, when LA Knight comes out, he is just as over as John Cena. Knight almost hits Cena at one point, teasing something there. Cena catches Miz using the rope for leverage. He stops it. Blunt force trauma, 1, 2, 3. LA Knight wins, just as over as Rollins and Cena, as I said. And then on the way to the back, Cena wants a handshake, LA Knight doesn't know what to do, but he very reluctantly shakes the hand, gets the respect from Cena, which was, kind of cool, seeing like the guard get passed down slightly. But number 3 out of 6, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor and Priest. This was like a rebuttal to Stadium Stampede a little over 6 days ago at this point. Dom shows up, just brawling. Kevin Owens is busted open. Sami and Kevin Owens get thrown into the penalty box and come back out with Penguins jerseys on. A huge pop. Kevin Owens hits a swanton off the tunnel, wild spot. Back in the ring, Balor takes a bump through a table. Rhea spears Kevin Owens through the guardrail. Dom clocks Sami in the head with the briefcase. Judgment Day win the tag team championship. So you have the Money in the Bank, the North American title from NXT, the women's championship on Rhea, and the unified tag team titles. They're carrying around like 6 belts and a briefcase. Judgment Day, it's their time right now. You can see it. But that's the third best match on the show. Number 2, Seth Rollins and Nakamura. This match was great. The main event, well paced. Love seeing Nakamura in the main. Rollins comes out looking wild. Nakamura matches his style. Everyone sings the songs. The big fight feel was there. Rollins in control. Momentum swings Nakamura's way. 1-2. Rollins kicks out. Nakamura stays on Rollins' back. Hurricane Rana from Seth off the top. Frog splash. 1-2. No. Clothesline. 1-2. No. Nakamura with a huge knee. 1-2. No. Again. 1-2. Rollins kicks out again. Crowd starts singing his song. Seth powers up, locks in an arm, or powers out of an armbar with a power bomb. Enziguri, both men down. Landslide off the top. 1-2, no. Kinshasa, Nakamura frantically and angrily stomping on Seth Rollins' back. Pedigree by Seth. Stomp. 1-2-3. Champ retains. No cash in. I thought that, with all these titles, Priest was going to cash in, but we didn't get that. But we did get a great cage match, the best match on the show. Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch. The match that should have taken place at SummerSlam, should have main evented this show. Huge bruise right on Trish's forehead, right off the top. She's trying to escape. Becky's stomping at her, or stopping her, pulling her in as... we'll get to that a little later. Becky stops her. And then they kind of pay history, or pay homage to the first ever women's cage match, doing Victoria's moves and Lita's moves. That was kind of cool. Big superplex from Becky. Zoe gets in there as Trish is trying to escape. I thought this was a cage match. This made me a little mad, but it worked. Becky closes the door, starts whipping Zoe's ass. Manhandle slam off the top. 1-2-3. Best match on the show was this match. Match of the year candidate, in my opinion. Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch. Definitely as far as what I've seen in women's wrestling. I don't watch Stardom, so don't at me. And then we got Monday Night Raw, staying with WWE for a little bit here. 2 guys who weren't on Payback but stole the show on Monday Night Raw, Chad Gable and Gunther, for the Intercontinental title in Charlotte, North Carolina. The crowd was hooked. Crossbody 1-2, no. But Gable goes right into the ankle lock as soon as Gunther kicks out. I love that. Putting steps putting his straps on just to take them off. Chaos Theory 1-2. Gunther kicks out again. Powerbomb Lariat 1-2-3. Gunther breaks hearts, including Gable's kids who are right there on the front row. That was heartbreaking. I wanted to see it. I'll admit it, I wanted to see it. But something I did want to see that I did get to see was Sami Zayn and Jey Uso reuniting. They embrace. Adam Pearce runs into him and says that someone needs to get traded to SmackDown since Jey Uso came to Raw, and it might ruffle some feathers on who it's going to be. So that's pretty interesting. Who is going to go to SmackDown? I think it's going to be a member of Judgment Day. They're going to fuck with Judgment Day a little bit here. Judgment Day is riding too high. And Judgment Day not happy. that Jey Uso is on Raw. They were out there in the ring. They weren't happy that Jey Uso came out. The bloodline has fallen and the Judgment Day has risen, is what they said. Of course, we know what's right around the corner, and that is Survivor Series. So we're going to get a War Games. So you know you're going to have Priest, Balor, Dom, and maybe JD McDonough, who comes out, presents Damian Priest with the purple briefcase. So I think they're going to trust JD McDonough. And then Roman, Jimmy, Solo, and I think Jey Uso is going to join back with the bloodline, because there was a quote from Solo Sikoa last Friday where he says, "You don't leave the bloodline until we say you do." So maybe I'm not following too much, but it seems like maybe Jey Uso will join back in with the bloodline for one night. I don't know. Maybe I've lost the plot here a little bit, but that's kind of where I see things going. Sami Zayn interrupts the bloodline, and we get a match here. Sami Zayn and JD McDonough. JD McDonough gets saved from Dom. Dom was kind of helping JD. JD saves Dom at the end after Sami was okay. So Sami was attacking Dominic Mysterio. JD McDonough comes in and saves. Sami starts attacking him. Dom runs off, hauls off, but I think he did that to kind of show the Judgment Day that he's, worth being a part of this clique here a little bit. That wasn't the only thing that happened. Of course, Nakamura versus Rollins, continuing their feud, which I'm pretty stoked about. Brawling on the entranceway after Nakamura cuts a Japanese promo. Glad they're letting him just speak. He's got a lot of swag. There's no way he's not good on the mic. They're an international company. They should just have multiple languages on the show. I mean, here in my neck of the woods, Greensboro, North Carolina, some Mexican rapper, I don't even know his name, sold more tickets than anyone who's ever played in the Greensboro Coliseum ever. Like any concert, anything. Bruce Springsteen, Grateful Dead, Jimi Hendrix, Elvis, all kinds of motherfuckers. That just goes to show you that if you're hot, man. Speak your language. So it's cool that they finally let something like that happen. Zoe versus Baszler, they wrestled each other for anyone who had trouble sleeping on Monday night. No. Zoe's good. I like Zoe. Miz introduces John Cena, but we couldn't see him. Womp womp. Kind of lame. He didn't come out. But they did mention LA Knight, and the crowd went nuts doing the yeah as soon as they mentioned it. I'm adjusting my levels here, guys, so hopefully you can adjust the volume with me. I appreciate that. But yeah, that was Raw. That was WWE. All things good for WWE. They had a great show on Saturday. It was supposed to be a B show, and then it exceeded expectations. It exceeded my expectations, and we went into Raw, and Raw was solid. It looks like they're setting up a lot of nice storylines here. And then we look over at AEW, and they had a great show, exceeded expectations for All Out, but CM Punk got released, and they made an announcement via social media on Saturday afternoon, and then Saturday evening before Collision, Tony Khan walked out for the live crowd and gave a speech, and then also did a pre-tape for the people at home, talking about how he feared for his life. They say CM Punk lunged at Tony Khan in a part of this all-in brawl that happened between him and Jack Perry. He lunged at Jack Perry. At Tony Khan. He threatened to quit. Apparently, a few monitors and things fell onto Tony Khan. So they had to release him. I get it. I get it at this point. But why couldn't you just not have CM Punk on the show and then let everyone know on Monday? And then the Punk news would have been what everyone was talking about on Monday instead of what everyone was talking about on Saturday and Sunday. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't realize how big of a deal this was. Punk is also the number one merch seller in the company. So they fired the number one merch seller. Apparently, Jungle Boy suspended indefinitely. And then all kinds of shit started coming out about CM Punk. Apparently, him and Regal got into it, where he called Regal a stooge, a Triple H stooge, which, I mean, that kind of may be true. But he's also a legend, so I can see a lot of people not taking too kindly to you not taking kindly to Regal, if that makes any sense. And I also think it's interesting because, okay, so CM Punk and Colt Cabana are good friends. CM Punk and Colt Cabana get sued by WWE. CM Punk tells Colt Cabana, "Hey, I can help you with the lawyers because this is obviously a case that's too strong to take on if you are just an independent wrestler." Colt Cabana has a podcast where CM Punk aired his grievances on, which I just talked about. But then he also showed up at a WWE show to interview who? William fucking Regal. And that's what kind of pissed off CM Punk, and that's what made CM Punk and Colt Cabana not like each other. So then CM Punk cut ties with him, so cut lawyers with him. So Colt Cabana had to find a nice lawyer friend, a family friend, to help fight this big case with WWE. And then they sued each other, and because they're suing each other, and Colt Cabana and CM Punk have beef. Colt Cabana touring the indies with people like Young Bucks, with people like Adam Page, with people like Omega, with people like Best Friends, all kinds of people, Ethan Page. So they're Team Colt Cabana. So then when CM Punk comes back after 7 years, of course the crowd likes him, but they don't like that they sued his friend Colt Cabana. And it all you can all bring it all the way back to the tension between Colt Cabana and CM Punk because of a William Regal podcast. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Also, a few months ago, everyone knew that CM Punk showed up at WWE, was let in with Tamina of all people, and everyone thought that he was just there hanging out talking to people. But now it's come out that he wanted to come out during the 2023 Royal Rumble, and he wanted to start a feud with Kevin Owens. A lot of top wrestlers did not want to see that, and of course we know that did not happen, and it was reported that WWE or AEW did not take it seriously. There's also reports that he might land in Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling has a big show in Chicago. If he's released, I mean, I'm not saying that they have enough money to pay for him to come back on a weekly basis, or that's something that CM Punk would want to do. But, I mean, it would be something you could do for one night, and you could definitely prove that you could pack a house without AEW. And then Impact Wrestling, of course, wants that house packed because of CM Punk. I mean, the most interesting person in the wrestling world is CM Punk, whether he's in AEW, WWE, or, Impact Wrestling. He could be in, AAW, Chicago's own AAW. I could see him come out and be the most interesting guy in pro wrestling. This just gets crazier and crazier by the day. Just when you think you've read enough, you read about the Regal thing, you read about Kevin Owens. I mean, it just seems like, I think by the time the year is over, it's going to be interesting to see all the people that this is all tied in with. I mean, shit, Ryan Namath, he's more relevant now than he ever was because him and CM Punk don't get along. It's crazy. Should they have fired CM Punk? Yes. Am I going to miss CM Punk? Hell yes. What are they going to do with Collision now? I have no fucking clue. You got Daniel Bryan coming back, Bryan Danielson coming back. But you also had 10 big matches, not including 0 Hour, on the All Out pay-per-view. And we're going to rank all of those matches from worst to first right now. Number 10, Ruby Soho and Chris Statlander. Solid match on a great show. The story of this match here is that Tony Storm's sexy, crazy ass took the spray paint from Soho, allowing Statlander to get the victory. Trouble in paradise for the Outcast. Statlander paying homage to Zoolander. Zoolander, I like it. She had like tights that kind of looked like the Ben Stiller classic character. But I also like Tony Storm turning on the Outcast. And then you get Tony Storm and Saraya for the world title belt. That was one thing that I think kind of stalled Britt Baker, and one thing that kind of hurt Jamie Hayter's title reign was they never turned on each other. It was like she was Britt Baker's lackey, and then she won the title, and then Britt Baker was just happy for her. And I mean, I guess maybe that would happen in real life or some shit, but like, come on. It's pro wrestling. Turn on each other, goddammit. Number 9, MJF and Adam Cole versus the Dark Order. Sportsmanship chant. This was pretty hilarious. MJF makes notes that Reynolds took part in training him, went for a handshake, got the whole crowd to chant sportsmanship, and then boom, went for the eye poke. What a dick. And then he hurt his neck. He was like, my neck. Adam Cole said, what part hurts? And he was like, my neck. He got sent to the back only to get that super face pop return. Double clothesline, 1, 2, 3. But as MJF was leaving toward the back, Samoa Joe comes out for his next match, and he pushes him aside. They start a pull apart here, but it looks like Samoa Joe and MJF might be a world title feud in our future. That would be pretty good. Just the mic work alone. But going into our 8th match on the show, Samoa Joe versus Shane Taylor. It was cool to see Shane Taylor. It seemed kind of random. I didn't watch the ROH tournament, and I don't think many people do watch ROH. Joe chokes him out and gets the victory. Number 7, Luchasaurus versus Darby. Darby gets his ass kicked like he did in Wembley. God, this is crazy. He just gets the fuck beat out of him over and over again. Luchasaurus even putting him under the steps and then stepping on the steps. And he retains. I thought Darby was going to win. And that's our 7th match. Number 6. This is really when it started getting good. There were so many good matches on this show. The Bucks and FTR versus Bullet Club Gold. This was fun. But the story during this match was definitely the crowd. They didn't boo Hangman at 0 Hour. They didn't boo Omega later on in the show or earlier on in the show. But they booed the Bucks. And they booed the Bucks out of protest because they want to see CM Punk. Somehow the Bucks and CM Punk, they're going to be linked to each other their entire careers for what happened at All Out 2022. And the Bucks were going off. I mean, they didn't, like, the only way you could boo the Bucks in this match is if you had some sort of preconceived agenda on why you should boo them. There was also people booing the boos and all this kinds of shit, but the Bucks were killing it. Power and Glory, 3-way spot was amazing. Superplex, then Dax with the crossbody, Matt with the elbow, Nick with the 450, Austin, Gunn was done. 1, 2, Juice saves his ass. They were hitting like combo, like $1, 1 FTR member Shatter Machine, $1, 1 FTR member BTE Trigger. It was cool. It was fucking cool to see. But Bullet Club Gold get the victory. They steal one. And I want to see a little more tension from these guys. I want to see the Bucks and FTR go at it again. Just like they did Wembley, I want to see it again. I know that they got Full Gear coming up. I know they got the Grand Slam show coming up. They also have Miro versus Hobbs, 5th best match on the show. The crowd made this one, though. If you don't know, there's a famous quote from Big E where he said that he loves big meaty men slapping meat. It was what he was talking about when it was like a big man contest, and the crowd apparently really liked that quote. Just any kind of quote you can get, slap that meat forever. Hobbs ends up tapping out, but I think the story of this match was that how much this crowd loved this, and this crowd really liked this on Rusev Day. And because it was Rusev Day, CJ Perry came out, and Miro was like, "You're not real. What are you doing?" and went to the back. He was like that girl who said whatever she saw on that plane wasn't real. But number 4, Shibata and Kingston versus Yuta and Claudio. Shibata and Claudio locking horns. That was pretty cool to see. Blackpool cutting the ring in half. Shibata hot tag. Then he hits a discus backhand bitch slap. Claudio ends up winning, though, with an uppercut. 1, 2, 3. Crazy way to end. So during this title reign, he's won with a big swing and an uppercut. 2 moves that he's been known for his entire career, but never got victories on until this Ring of Honor title reign. I don't see anyone taking this title off of him in a very long time. Number 3, third best match on the show, just making the podium, Omega versus Takeshita. Great match. Takeshita takes it to him, moonsault off the barricade from Omega. It took me back to those New Japan days from Omega. Omega Hurricane Rana, Haluva kick, Blue Thunder Bomb, Swanton, or Senton, all Takeshita here. Power bomb, V trigger, 1-2, Takeshita kicks out. Battle up top, Blue Thunder, 1-2, no. Again, 1-2, no. Callis tries to stab Omega with a screwdriver, ends up stabbing in the ring. Takeshita picks it up, tries to stab Omega when he goes up for the one-winged angel. The ref takes it from him, but then Takeshita still ends up winning the match, which is great here. I think they made 3 big stars on this show, Cassidy, Starks, and out of all those 3, only one got the victory, and that is Takeshita. Going into the second best match on the show, the main event match on the show, Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley. Orange Cassidy staying chill, and Moxley just attacks him. I feel like if you needed to know both men's characteristics, you would just see that 3-second clip, and then you would know what these two guys are all about. Cassidy split open, Moxley just biting him, pile driver, 1-2, Cassidy kicks out, then he hits a DDT, orange punch, 1-2, no, Moxley with a pile driver, 1-2, Cassidy kicks out, bulldog choke from Moxley, turned into a crossface, but that allows Cassidy to get to the ropes. Moxley exposes the concrete floor, but that bites him in the ass because he gets hit with a beach break on the floor. Cutter, orange punch, spear, Cassidy with the slow kicks, but then he fires up with the fast kicks, baby. Crazy kicks here with speed. Death Rider, 1-2, Cassidy kicks out. Death Rider again, 1-2-3. Mox gets the fucking victory. The wrong guy won, but it was a great match. Killer match. Solidified Orange Cassidy as a main eventer. He main evented a fucking pay-per-view. He made a title. Much like Will Ospreay with the U.S. Championship, this title is forever different, I think, because of that title reign that Orange Cassidy had. It's more prestigious. It's a shot in the arm that this mid-card title needed, and now it's on a true main eventer. I would have had Cassidy beat Moxley, but that wasn't the case. Moxley went home with the title. But that wasn't the best match on the show. Danielson versus Starks in the fucking strap match. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat on commentary. The way this match was set up was perfect. Steamboat signed the strap match, but he wrote Dragon. But he wasn't talking about his dragon. He was talking about the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. Starks doesn't put the strap on at first and ends up attacking Danielson like a jerk, whipping Danielson, clocking him with the buckle, busting him open. Danielson retaliating, just whipping the shit out of Pretty Ricky. Chicago loves Ricky bleeding as he just rakes the eyes. Ricky just, whipping him with the strap. Brian hulking up at one point. Big Bill shows up, but then Ricky the Dragon cuts him off. Great spot here. Amazing match. Danielson ends up choking him out, unconscious. He didn't tap, but he got choked the fuck out. We all saw him turn purple here in Chicago. Winning the match of the year candidate. Great fucking show. I love pro wrestling. Great few days in pro wrestling. I mean, John Cena's back. Daniel Bryan is back. CM Punk is gone. Where will he end up? I don't know. Everyone has an opinion. I have to look back at the CM Punk's AEW run, and it was memorable. The feud he had with MJF was amazing. The match he had at Wembley was great. The feud he had with Kingston was good. But I want to say, December 2021, I got to see my 2 favorite wrestlers ever, CM Punk and Sting, team together with Darby Allin versus FTR and MJF. So that moment was probably my favorite live moment out of my entire life of being a wrestling fan. So I would have to say, looking back at the AEW run that CM Punk has had, I would say that it was great. It was amazing. Was it as good as his WWE run? No. As good as his Ring of Honor run? No. But it was still amazing, and it gave me my favorite memory of live pro wrestling ever. I've been to WrestleManias. I've seen a lot of stuff live, and that was my favorite, Sting and CM Punk and the Pain. I know it was cheesy and everything, but I loved it. I fucking loved it. And I love y'all for listening. I love pro wrestling. Fly high. I'm out.